guys? Can you hear me? But you can't see me. I'm a ghost.
Give me a second.
I could get away with murder right about now. She was streaming live, but was she really? And did we lose the camera altogether?
There it is.
There we are. Hi, guys. You know, in some cases, it might have been better the other way. Renee is having an issue today. Everything he touches seems to... There we go. All right. Gremlins. Yeah. Tech gremlins. I've had my fill of tech gremlins to last me a lifetime. I hope everybody is feeling well today. It is a gloomy, cool day here on the East Coast. Very cloudy and gray, not very warm. But we get to stay in and paint. Yay! I had a little bit of fun this week. I had so many things on my plate this week. It was crazy. But had a little bit of fun this week creating the piece that we're going to be painting today. The summer celebrations. Whenever I do one of these, I try to do them so that we can incorporate both Independence Day and Canada Day, so that we can, easily switch between one and the other. So I went with a very simple motif in this one, just a big juicy slice of watermelon, which is like my favorite thing. So juicy slice of watermelon, my favorite little flower, some bright white daisies, some bold red and white. And then, of course, for all my friends in the States, we had to add a little bit of blue, so we went with Happy 4th of July. I think this is a fun piece to paint. It's got some nifty little techniques for creating a background, and we're going to show you how to incorporate stars or maple leaves or whatever you like into this. So this is a super fun one to do. It works up very quickly, and you can do it on a variety of surfaces. The first one that I did on this cute little breadboard, which I think would be fun for a picnic or something like that. Seal it with a little bit of beeswax, and you could serve your cheeses and things like that on it. It would be a fun thing for that holiday. But today I'm going to be doing mine on an 8x8 art pen. Nice little piece that we can tuck inside a big wreath, either for Canada Day or for Independence Day. It will work for either one. So that's what we're got on our plate for today. But before we do that, we have to talk about some giveaways. And we have something a little bit special for you today. We have a surprise pack of stencils. I don't even know what's in them. So we have 2 of those to give away, along with a great set of drawing pencils. One of the things that makes our industry so great is the ability to switch from one medium to the next and just play. And the basics is learning to draw. So we've included some fabulous drawing pencils. And then, of course, we have a little create bag for you, tucked full of little goodies from both Renee and myself, along with a lovely little set of Dynasty black gold brushes. So nice little giveaway for today. So, and all you have to do to get your name on the wheel is simply join us in the chat, say good morning, say hello, and let us know where you're watching from. We would love to know. So give us a shout out, let us know where you are. That's all you have to do. And then at the end of the live, we will spin the wheel and 2 of you will win that great little prize pack. So we're going to have fun today. It's always a great giveaway. We try to do our best. So if you guys are ready to get started on summer celebrations, so am I. We'll make sure this camera works. Ta-da! And it does.
Yay!
Oh.
Chapman no big enough for that?
Yes, that's nice. I can read everything. I'm going to use this for a minute. Whew. By the way, this also makes a great little fan.
All right, I gotta go.
Yes, go walk said dog.
That dog.
Miss Maze. She's prancing around upstairs waiting for her walk. There's Pam Reinking. Nice to see you. And Wanda Nunez. Janet Mills. Hello, Janet. And Jackie Wright. Good heavens, everybody's here today. Serena Copley, Linda Safranco, hello, sweetheart. Renee just left the studio, so I will say hello to him for hot flashes are real and uncomfortable at times. I am... Oh... I am very warm right now. And Burl Thomas, nice to see you. So the surface that I chose to work on is this one. This is an 8x8 arc panel. These ones you can get at Michael's. I like working on these for a couple of reasons. One, they hang up very nicely. You don't need a fancy frame for them. You can use them for a variety of things. They can either be artwork that hangs on the wall, or they can sit right on their edge and be displayed as a simple shelf sitter, or they can be tucked into the center of a wreath. There's so many fun things you can do with these. So this makes for a really great surface for this particular project because it's very simple. And the design for this piece is very simple. If you have a look at it, there's nothing really elaborate. I wanted all the color. I wanted it to be very bright and colorful. I wanted it to be fun, and I wanted it to be dynamic. So that's what I stuck with. Keep it simple and let the color do the work. So that's what we've got. And of course, I had to antique the edges a little bit. I had lots of fun with this one. Terry Zastro, nice to have you with us. Hi, Darlene. It's a beautiful day in Michigan. It's not a beautiful day here. It's very cool and gloomy. That's the word. And Marlene Dombrowski. Good heavens, and Pat Jones from Texas. Wow. I bet it's warm in Texas right about now. Oh, I quickly said, hi. Donna, I just barely caught your statement, something about Rich. I hope everything's okay. And Tina, I was just thinking about you, Tina. You have a little package coming that should solve your problem with the patterns you got. And there's Terry Murphy from High River, Alberta. And Gwen Bollender. Is it Bollender or Bolender? Northern Alabama. And Robin McCooma. Sandy Barton. Nice to see you, Sandy. My heavens, everybody is here. So Tina is not too far from me. Oh, you're welcome, Tina. I'm happy to help. Okay, so what I've done for this piece, for the background, I have applied one coat of light buttermilk. I didn't want a full white. I found that the full white was a little too high contrast, a little too bold. I wanted to bring it down a little notch and give it more of a country feel, so I went with a light buttermilk. Yeah, we are neighbors. Excellent. Thank you, Gwen. So I'm going to give this surface a light sanding. There we go. So just enough to smooth it out a little bit. You don't need to sand it too much. I just wanted to smooth it out just a touch. So the trick for this one, you have to decide if you want your stripes vertical or horizontal. Not that it matters because you can simply turn the surface. Oh, the comments are working today. Very well, thank you. Hey, Faye, how's my girl? Can't wait to see you again. And Mary, gotta say hello to Mary. So there's our first stripe. So once you have that first one down, you're going to take another piece of tape and you're going to, you don't want to overlap, but you're going to abut. So even if there's a tiny little space, it's okay. So just press it into place. And then your next piece, you do the same thing. Press it into place, wrap it around, and then that one comes off. And we just alternate back and forth like that. Just like so. Oh, watermelon. I love watermelon. It's like, I go through a ton of it here because first, I'm one of the few people that eats it. Chuck will eat a little bit. The kids don't really eat it. My daughter doesn't care for watermelon at all. Anna Marie Coleman, sweetheart, I was thinking about you the other day too. Wondering how you were doing. Anna Marie is an old friend from Winnipeg. She used to work with me quite often. We used to have a great deal of fun together. Awesome lady. I hope you're well. So here we go. How am I today? I'm doing just fine, thank you. I had a, here we are. It's allergy season up here. Lots of giggling. Okay. Yes, we did do a lot of giggling. Anna Marie was my partner in crime for many, many years. We did have a lot of fun together. So, I've got, let me see here. There. So I have my stripes. Now, notice how I'm peeling off the tape. 45-degree angle. Keep it low to the surface. That way it doesn't pull off your fresh tape, your fresh paint. So I'm going to use my fingertips to burnish the edges of this tape a little bit. Now, this one is a moisture activated adhesive. So if you burnish it well, so that the tape is well seated, when you apply color to this, it shouldn't bleed under. You might get a little bit, but most of the time you don't. There's Patrick and Karen and Lil. Oh yes. Allergy season is a thing. I've been fighting it all week. So the color I'm going to use for that background is my favorite. There's Dawn. Hi, Dawn. And Carrie Henderson. Hello. Everything is being planted late here because it's been very cold. We're still getting single digits at night, so I'm reluctant to put anything out. So, but I've got to soon. My zucchini plants are getting too big to keep in the house. So I'm using Country Red, and I'm doing one coat, pulling it vertically. Like that. I'm not spending a whole lot of time fussing with this. Mainly because I'm going to sand the living daylights out of it shortly. And I kind of like the distressed look. So if you get a little bit of bleeding under the tape, you don't really need to. Yeah, right, Faye? It is. It's way too cold. I've got bean plants that are like 6 inches tall already, and I can't get them in yet. Although my gardens are all ready. I haven't touched my herbs. I'm like 2 weeks behind on everything so far, unless it warms up. After the blue, that's right too, there's blue moon this weekend. But it's late. Usually I have my herbs in by now. And, you know, and the tomato plants are in and whatnot, but I haven't put my potatoes out. I haven't done anything yet. My potato plants are growing in the laundry room. So, oh my stars, 40 degrees. That's too warm. You went from cold spring to hot summer. Oh my. I kid you not. I have seed potatoes and they're like, plants are like 6 inches, 7 inches tall. It's nuts. I got to get them in the ground soon. So, there we go. I have done very little 1 coat is all you really need for this because we're going to distress it. So if I put down 2, it's going to be a little difficult. I've made things harder than they should have been. Here we go. Uh-oh. Maze is getting ready for a walk. Can you tell? Hi, Shirley. Oh, Carol Colbert. Hi, hon. So, again, tape, 45-degree angle, close to the surface. By doing it that way, you get a nice clean line, but at the same time, you don't risk pulling off fresh paint. There's nothing quite so frustrating as pulling off all the paint you spent so much time putting on. 90 degrees. Oh, my stars and garters. Darlene. Hello. Darlene Marcellus, where are you watching from? 80 next week. Oh, my goodness. The high for today in our neck of the woods, or I should say the temperature right now is 9 degrees. That's it. We're still single digits. Whoops, I had a little bit of bleeding there, but that's all right. Got a little bit of furring along this edge here and here. And honestly, I'm not going to worry too much about it because we're going to distress this anyway, so. Eastern Ontario, nice. Yep, we're at 9 degrees here today. Feels like 6, which means we actually have a wind chill today. Brr. We are going to see a high of 10 and a low of 3 degrees. That's a little burr. It's a little bit burr. Okay, so now that I've got that down and it's dry, and you can see we've got a little bit of furring, nothing too drastic. A little bit towards the bottom there. I think it was simply moisture in the brush, but so I'm going to use my little gator here, and I'm going to sand vertically. I always sand with the grain, but at the same time sand with the direction that you put the paint on. So, and I'm going to be fairly aggressive with it. And the reason for that is I want this to look distressed. I'm going to wear the paint at the edges. Oh, I love it. Look at that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really want to give this some age. I like distressing things. I distress my husband on the daily. Here we go. This thing is just the answer. A great friend in Washington State sent me this. It's just fantastic. Or not Washington, sorry. In Portland, Oregon area. Lovely, lovely friend. Sent me this as a gift, and it's just been the best thing since cookies. So, I know I have made an unholy mess. I have red powder. 9 degrees. It's 9 degrees Celsius, doll. Not Fahrenheit. We do everything in Celsius. Here we go. Now, I'm going to wipe off that dust. Look at that. And then I'm going to moisten this cloth. Oh yeah, it comes with a whole bunch of sandpaper. It's great. Washington State. Washington State and Oregon are absolutely the most beautiful states. I was gobsmacked my first visit on the coastline in Washington State is just breathtaking. And then I went to Oregon to teach with a bunch of fabulous women and absolutely fell in love with their area. Hey, Luce! It's 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, you're in Maine, so you're pretty close to me. I only live about an hour and a half from the Maine border, so we pretty much share the same weather. Ours might get a little colder in the winter months, but not too bad. Yay, Patrick, that's great news. That is great news. Okay, look at that. I love it. I love that distressed appearance. Look at the scratches and the gouges and the worn edges, and oh, I love it. And it's nice and smooth. So our next step for this piece is we're going to age the edges of this. And we have a couple of different ways you can do that. You can float around the outside edge. And I can do that with a nice big angled shader if I can find one. There it is. My very ugly angled shader, but it's just the best brush. It looks like the devil dragged it through hell, but it's a great brush for floating. I'm going to thin out a little bit of asphaltum, and I'm going to blend it very well so I get a nice transition. Sharon Klein, you can get it off of Amazon. It is just the answer, and it's great for those small surfaces. And I love when you're doing ornaments, you can get into tight little places with it. It's great. It's called a Gator Sander, Sharon, and you can find it on Amazon. So I'm putting a nice float around the outside edge. I want this to kind of look a little grungy. You're welcome. I ordered myself some gold paint pens. Because you know me and my paint pens. I like my gold paint pens for edges and borders and things like that. And I had ordered a couple, and I didn't like the point. And the other day I ordered a couple new ones that I thought would be pretty good. I'm not keen on the point, but the metallic is worth it. The metallic in that is just fantastic. So I'm going to dry that. I'm really loving this edge. I kind of like that heavily distressed, it's been sitting in the attic for years type look, especially at the edges of things, you know. Look at that. See, that appeals. And I think if we had done white stripes, if we had done white as the base color, it wouldn't have this richness or that warmth. It would have been a little harsh. Hi, Linda. Good morning. And there's Mernie. 48 degrees in the central area. Oh my goodness. It's nipply. There we are. So I really like this, that aged edge. Because I sanded and distressed the edge, the wood is open. Oh, their metallic ones are fantastic. So once you have that outside edge done, we're going to dry it really well because we don't want the next phase to mess it up, as they say. I can't find, I was looking for gingham, or what is that? I was looking for some old raw gingham fabrics, and I wasn't having any luck. So I ended up using baking twine. I kind of wanted to put like a red gingham and a blue gingham on one, and then just a red and white gingham on another. But I could not find anything like that. Our local Michael stores and most of my favorites, go-to spots for stuff, just didn't have anything. So what's for dinner tonight? We are having penne regate. One of my favorite meals. Essentially is just penne with baked penne. Baked ziti, whatever you want to call it. So that's what we are having this evening. Baked ziti. I love baked ziti. Lots of good sauce, lots of good meat, lots of good vegetables. I love putting a little bit of eggplant in. So, nice wash of heavily thinned asphaltum. Heavily thinned. I don't want to make this all dark brown like the outer edges, but I want to warm it up. Ooh, nice. Chinese buffet. I did Chinese last night. I made kimchi rice, and we had egg rolls and chicken balls, and my husband's favorite, I made lo mein with shrimp and chicken. Patrick, is it your birthday week? Okay, so I managed to put up, I didn't have time to put it onto the Canadian site, but I did get it up onto the US site. Just simply ran out of time today. It was sort of a last minute thought. I frequently have those. I have a really cute new printable up. Yay! Well, happy birthday! So here we go. We're going to roughly center this. I kind of want it roughly centered. Make sure that the lettering is appropriately placed. And then I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't move. Ooh, homemade chicken noodle soup. Yum. I love chicken noodle soup. I think it's one of my favorites anyway. I love soup in general. But on a really cold day, my favorite is zuppa toscana. I love it. I love the flavors. And if you're looking for a recipe, it's on my website. So, hi Shirley. I'm glad you like this piece. It's a fun one. So I'm going to put a well-worn piece of graphite underneath. And I just realized something. This is the piece that I used when I was getting the pattern ready. You can tell because I've got the whole list of colors that I used on the back of the line drawing. So the next one in the hopper that I have waiting is a mixed media piece. So that's next for next week. I think it's a fun one. I kind of wanted to go with the gardening theme, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. I I do have a bunch of new printables going in, but I had started loading them and I only got one done, so. The new printables, there's a couple of different ones. There's a summer one, there's one for Halloween, and then I've got a Father's Day piece on the go as well, so. Because that's coming faster than I care to admit. So we'll be doing a Father's Day piece very shortly. And I'm always looking for recommendations. The idea of doing, golf or, the very typical barbecue thing, I try to avoid that because they tend to be very specific, and not everybody plays golf. Not everybody, so I try to find something that's masculine that sort of will appeal to a bunch of different people. The last one I did was for shaving. The one before that was for fishing. I don't know anything about golf. I have a different name for it, but and I don't have the temperament for that game. So golf is kind of off the table. I thought about car racing, but again, I don't know that much about it. So, but when it comes to fishing, hunting, and things like that, I know. So I tend to get into that gear. Leanne, I used light buttermilk for the stripes. Now, the fun part about this is that because they're stripes, they can go in either direction, vertically or horizontally. It's really not going to make that big a difference to the end result. So if you would prefer them to go horizontally, feel free. It's not going to hurt the overall design in any way. And you may feel it's more appropriate if you're from the States, simply because that's the direction your flag goes. So, and I tried to be respectful of the flag. It's thin ice these days, you know what I mean? So I try to be respectful. It is a flag. It should be respected. So, as I said, you can put the stripes either way. Now, hi, Robert. Good to have you with us. It is. It's very difficult to find a Father's Day theme that works for all fathers. A number of years ago, I did a piece for a magazine for Father's Day that was probably one of the most popular pieces I'd done in a masculine theme. And it was a film strip. And it was on a gentleman's box. So the film strip incorporated portraits of Humphrey Bogart, James Dean, Elvis Presley, and Marilyn Monroe. So they were on the top of the box, and then the box was painted with a variety of images to give you the illusion of a film strip. So it was a unique piece. It had a very limited palette, but it was very popular. And I considered doing something along that line, but Father's Day is a hard one. My husband's never been the typical, so Father's Day has always been something a little bit different for us. His loves something with tools. Something with tools, that's a good idea. We can do something with tools, building. I think Father would be quite upset if we gave him, a piece with a lawnmower painted on it. But hand tools, power tools. I don't know. Father's Day is a tough one. 'Cause the decorative painting doesn't usually, fall into those types of things. So, it's always flowers. Vote for tools. I agree. Some men collect stamps. Other men do a variety of things. My husband loves his motorcycle. So it's easy for us. I mean, anything to do with a Harley or a motorcycle, and he's a happy camper. So, but that is not the case for everybody. So trying to find something that has more of a masculine theme and a little less specific is not so easy. So, but I have an idea for Father's Day, so it will be fun. And then trying to incorporate a variety of different techniques into it is another thing. I like doing a piece that has a number of different techniques that makes things a little more interesting. I'll check to see how. Oh, I'm missing a whole bunch of things here. There's Norma. Hi, sweetheart. Fishing. You can't really go wrong with fishing, but Sharon, yes, I do actually. We just got a bunch of them in on the website. I love these things. Okay, I'm just double checking. Now, you can put as many of these seeds in as you want. I only put a couple, I think maybe 4 on the Canadian one. Yeah, all Harley Davidson. Yeah, my husband has got a big old Harley in the garage. He loves his Harley. It's his first Harley and will probably be his last Harley because it's a beast of a bike. There we go. So I think I got everything. I did. Now, I have stars drawn on here, but I wanted to show you a technique for shading stars, so I'm going to use a stencil to do it. And the one I chose to use is this one. And I love this one. I like the crowded stars, but I'm going to show you a neat technique for doing those stars. So I'm just make sure I got everything here. Yeah, that looks good. So I take my line drawing off and we are ready to rock and roll. I love this surface with that aging technique. It works really nicely. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with Posca pens too. Yes, gardening. Anything gardening, stamps. Men collect stamps. Well, everybody collects stamps. Women collect stamps, coins. There's all sorts of things that that might interest men, but it's generally finding something that will appeal to a number of different ones. So I'm trying to find ideas that will work that way. American Lloyd, yes, I've heard about that. Tools and hammock ideas are great. Oh, cool. I collect art supplies and rubber stamps. I'm with you there, Tina. Now, I did notice that I missed something. I missed a little line on this H here. But it's an easy fix. There we go. There we are. Now, hi, Tammy. I love this too. This is fun. There's nothing better than doing something. It's like painting for Christmas. Oh, chef's hat and barbecue tools. Great idea. Cup of coffee would be good. I like that. So our first step on this one is I always like to do my shading for the background first, simply because then you don't have to worry about cleaning off areas where you went over top of your lettering. So I'm going to grab a 1/2 inch angled shader. Here we go. And the color I'm going to use is a little bit of asphaltum. Farmer's hat with a gardening tool. And Luann Stone from Southern Oregon. Hi, Luann. So I'm going to thin out some asphaltum. I don't want this to be a really dark shadow, but just a little bit. So I always shade it out, thin it out a little bit. So I'm going to put a shadow to the right side of each letter. And this is why I like doing this first, because I can just slap it in there. I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going over something I shouldn't. Because I'm going to paint over that part anyway. I am, however, going to switch to a smaller brush because that's just a little too messy for me. And I need the color a little bit darker. There we go. So again, I'm putting that little shadow to the right of each letter, inside and on the right. This always works so well, doing it this way. A recliner with a lamp, that's a good idea. That's a really great idea. I like that. Here we go. So once we've got that shadow in place, you can bring a little bit of that in behind the flowers right here, and in behind that like slice of watermelon. It doesn't have to be a really dark shadow. And it doesn't have to be particularly neat either. But that little shadow, to tuck into some of those little areas here, in and around and underneath the flower. Just a little shadow. It doesn't have to be perfect. What a great idea, Carol. I could see that like for a remote control box. You could make a box, an area to store the remotes, and then just, paint a remote control on the top of it. That would be kind of cool. There's so many different things. For instance, my husband is, his collection, some men collect stamps, other men collect, coins, whatnot. My husband collects watches. And he has quite a few. And he has a case that actually winds his watches. So he has a lot of mechanical watches that are auto winding, and so the machine keeps the watches itself in motion, so that they're always wound. And with Renee making watches, and that's Renee's hobby, is building watches. I really have to wear the watch he gave me for my birthday one of these days so you guys can see it. I don't think I've shown it to you. It's beautiful. So in those darker areas tucked underneath the flower, don't be afraid to put a little extra in there because those areas are quite dark. There we go. And then along the bottom under the watermelon, make sure you've got a nice deep shadow in there. Just like that. And then you are ready for the next step. Carl collects old camelus knives. Oh my 7. That's another thing. Both Renee and my husband have knives galore. Yes, this takes shape very quickly. So I'm going to dry this. And we're going to start with the watermelon. And we're going to put a coat of, if you've base coated the background, you can put a coat of warm white down, or you can base coat with a little bit of that light buttermilk. I've got a little bit of white buttermilk, so that's what I'm going to work with. So you would just need a light color to block out some of that red. So, and it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to put that white down. Work right over those seeds. You can do that. Da-da-da. I love this part because you can just paint it in following the shape of that watermelon slice or wedge, whatever you want to call this. And this does make a big difference when you're doing stuff like this, is following the general shape of it. It makes a huge difference. Quite simply because you're not going to have a ton of brush marks. You're not going to have that slip-slappy texture. Left behind. So I try to paint it following the shape. So it's wedge shaped. So the direction I pull it. Oops. Oh, yes, Norma, I've done that more than once. I know what you mean, Patrick. If you guys saw the collection here, you'd have a fit. Because my collection goes beyond obsessive. There we go. So I've pretty much buried all of that red. I just wanted to, put a nice little barrier in. Like so. There. So we've got a nice base. Patterns, books, magazines. Is Ramona in here? There's Linda. My pal Linda. Oh, Lillian, never count your paint bottles. Never. It's horrifying. You can never have too much paint or brushes, ever. That's the way it works. Now, the color that I chose for the watermelon is obvious. Watermelon slice. I love this color. Yeah, it was a shock. I know. Believe me, Lil, I get it. It's always a shock to discover how much of something you have. So, putting down that base has a remarkable effect on this. You get a nice even coat. Again, I'm painting following the shape of that wedge. And it does make a very big deal, very big difference as you're working, because you're going to have really good coverage with it now. I love watermelon slice. It's one of those colors. I like it particularly for things like candy canes. It's just such a great color for things like that. And it's an easy one to shade. You can put other reds with it. It's just a great color. And it is going to take 2 coats, but that's all right. 2 coats will give us a nice coverage. It's a great, great color. So I'm going to dry that. Oh, melon would be a good one. I gravitate towards whites, things with a white tone. More out of habit than anything. There we go. Nice and dry. So here comes the second coat. And this one is your full coverage coat. Look at that. And again, I like to paint following the shape of that wedge. And it does make a huge difference. So if you have brush marks, if you have any little wobbles and bobbles in the finish, they're going to follow the shape and just fall into the overall design. You're not going to have to work against them. Yes, Bonnie, it is. It's a great Christmas red. The other nice thing is that it's one of those colors that can be shaded with almost any red, because it kind of walks the line. It's not quite a warm red, not quite a cool one. It's in the middle somewhere. So you can go either way as far as choosing a shading color. You could choose a color like Tuscan red to shade this, or you could choose something with a more purplish tone. So there's all kinds of options when it comes to shading. I like using a more transparent and really deep red, so I'm using a little bit of alizarin crimson. But one color that I have really come across lately that I love using is this one. This is crimson red. This one came out last year, and it is a beautiful red, but it's very transparent. It leans into the blue just a little bit, so it's not quite, again, not quite a warm red, not quite a cold one, and it is ideal for shading this color. So that's what I'm going to be using. So here we are. Love it. Look at that. 2 coats, full coverage. Awesome. What did I see here? No, Linda, you don't have a problem. You have a problem when you start buying furniture for it. Kind of like I did. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pantry cabinets in the studio full of paint. So, ooh, red spice, yummy. Oh, lovely color. So there is our watermelon slice. I have warm white here somewhere. There it is. I'm going to use a little bit of warm white. I love that color. And I'm going to... Warm white is just, it's my white. Oh, the hummingbirds are here. Hummingbirds. I haven't seen any yet, but we don't have, it has been a very late spring for us. So I have not seen any hummingbirds yet. I have, however, we did get some finches. The finches are here. I know that because they hang off of the brick on the front of the house eating the little baby spiders. All of the spiders that are hatching, which is fine with me. I'm okay with it. So I've got the white in, and then the rind is going to be avocado toast. You can use lush green as well. It's just going to make your rind a little darker, but aside from that, really not a big deal. But I'm going to use a little bit of avocado toast because I'm sort of obsessed with this green. Oopsie. I wonder if I could make more of a mess if I tried. Some days I can paint all day and not get a drop of paint anywhere but on the surface that I'm painting. And then other days I can't move without getting paint someplace it's not supposed to be. So oh my. Does Taz? Yes, she catches spiders. And then she brings them to me. She catches the spiders. She got up into the rafters the other day. And when she came down, she dropped a spider right in front of me. I was less than impressed. I detest spiders. They terrify me. So, yeah. She likes to bring them to me. It's not as bad as Gizmo walks around with them in his mouth, but he doesn't kill them. He just holds them. So, you know, all you see is legs sticking out of his mouth, wiggling. And Airy, she just kills them. But it is the time of year. Am I out of focus? There. There we go. The camera is designed to focus automatically, so sometimes it takes a minute to catch up. There we go. So I'm going to dry that. You're a July baby, Lucinda. My daughter is too. July has always been a really busy month for us for birthdays. My sister's birthday is on the 16th. My father's was on the 18th. My grandfather's was on the 21st. And my daughter's is on the 4th. So this is a birthday piece. My daughter was born on the 4th of July. Patrick, I know exactly what you mean. I dropped a brush in the paint the other day, and of course when I went to grab it, it rolled, and so it rolled through the palette. So it had like 10 different colors on it. So by the time I got the brush off the palette, I had more paint on me. There we go. I love this color. Avocado toast is just such a great green. I mean, my favorite greens. You won't forget. No, Karen will never forget that day, ever. I love avocado toast, lush green, antique green. Those are my three, like the three that I really like base coating with. I love the tone of them. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, at one time we used to have like 4 birthdays all in a row. And then my nephew, my daughter, and my nephew were supposed to be, born within a couple of days of each other. He ended up being born on my daughter's due date, and then she was born on the 4th. There we go. So there's our rind. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Robin, my dad's birthday was on the 18th. Yeah, we had oodles. Okay. And then we're going to use that same green to base coat those leaves as well. And it's such a great color. Now these leaves, I'm just going to stroke in that first coat. The fun thing about doing anything like this is that you don't have to follow the pattern precisely. Even on my own patterns, as I'm working, if I decide that it needs another leaf somewhere, I'm putting one in. And in this particular case, and I noticed this when I first did it, and I didn't fix it, and I should have. Oh, yeah, birthday month, your family birthday month is April. Yeah. And we have the same thing in October. Renee's is on the 4th. Renee's birthday's on the 4th. Or the 6th, sorry. My mother-in-law's was on the 4th. Renee's is on the 6th. My sister-in-law's is on the 9th. Couldn't quite get there from here. And then my husband's is April. His father's was first week of May, on Cinco de Mayo. Oh, yeah. Well, you know why? Because Prussian blue is that one color that is so dark, and it gravitates towards you. It's like going to choose the brightest, boldest, and most difficult color to wash out. Yeah, I had 2 replaced not too long ago. Oh my goodness. So, now I'm going to take the time to put a second coat on these leaves. I tucked one along the bottom because I felt right from the very beginning it needed one, and I didn't put it in. Don't know why. I love doing leaves with just a simple stroke because they feel more organic that way. And then you can just, carefully paint in the point. There we go. This is a fun piece. I've painted it 3 times already. because I have to test things. Et voila! This is so fun. So we're going to start this business with the rind. Because we can. And I have a really simple technique for putting in that sort of texture that's on the rind. And we're going to start with two colors. We've got a little bit of margarita. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you get your projects done. And then we have a little bit of plantation pine. So we're going to start with the rind. We're going to load the angled shader as if we're going to float, but we're not technically going to float. We're going to kind of float. So I'm going to start with the plantation pine. I'm going to pick up a fairly generous amount of paint, and I'm going to blend it on my palette as if I'm going to float, but I'm not going to float. Instead, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand my brush on the chisel edge, and I'm going to just tap and pull. So it creates this. And then I'm going to give it a space, and I'm going to do it again. Tap and pull. Just a series of simple strokes, nothing fancy. And you can blend it a little bit if you want to, but it's going to create that. Super simple. Don't overthink it, just a little tap and pull so that you get this sort of ragged look. And then you're going to rinse your brush. So we're going to repeat that with margarita. Thank you, Leanne. So I'm going to take margarita and I'm going to stand the brush up on my chisel edge again. And I'm going to tap and pull in the same fashion, like that, in between those dark green bits. Et voila. And that's it. That's all you really have to do for that rind. Super simple. So I'm going to dry that. And then, now that it's dry, we're going to shade underneath our flower here on. Just put a little shadow with that plantation pine right there. Just underneath. So I use chisel blending quite a bit because for a couple of reasons. One, it'll help you create texture very simply. And it's already a brush load that is easy to do. It's one that we do on the regular basis. And you can brighten it. If ever you feel it's a little wanting, you can come back in and brighten it a little bit. Just by overstroking. If you find that your texture has kind of gotten a little bit lost, you can overstroke it. Just tap in a little extra color. I know. 5 years ago yesterday. And we are open for new members. We've got lots of room. And we just did. I got to show you what my members did this month. I have a talented group. So we do a little of everything. I try to give them all sorts of fun things to do. So the Create with Tracy live group, they did this month. This is the project class that we did this month. And this is called Summer Cherries. We did this one in colored pencil. This was such a fun class. So yeah. What happened to Iris? Oh, oh my goodness, Lucy. It was such a great class. We had so much fun in that class. It was just awesome. And next month we're doing something even more cool as far as I'm concerned. So we've got all kinds of neat stuff coming up. Membership group is fun. We do one big live class every month. And we have usually 2 to 3 videos and then 2 to 3 small lives throughout the month, usually for a simple technique or a simple project or whatever. But we do a lot of lives and we do a lot of video and we just have a blast. And that Summer Cherry piece, I was so excited to do that. But yes, we had a really great class. It was a lot of fun. So if you're interested at all, you can join us at any time. You can leave at any time. And there is a blue join button if you're on the YouTube channel. You can click on it. If you want to do the live classes, you can choose the one that says Create with Tracy Live. And that one will give you the live classes. You'll have free patterns. You'll have free printables. There's lots of cool stuff available to my membership group. Plus, we have the membership group page. And that one is awesome. We do 2 challenges a month. The colored pencil is a beginner could do that. Yeah, a beginner could do it. Yes, Dorothy, that had this one has not been sealed yet. So what you're looking at is the wax. The membership, you can set it up to pay it monthly. If you want to stay for a month, or you can do it one at a time. And as soon as you click join, there's a spot there to pay for membership through there. But yeah, this is the type of thing that our membership group is doing. One month we're doing something with acrylic. The next month we'll do something in colored pencil. This past month, for the month of May, they've been doing fruit. So even the challenges are related to fruit, and they can work in a variety of them. So there's lots of fun, and we do a lot of different things. Well, Margaret, the fun part about it is that all of the classes are recorded, and members have access to them 24 hours a day, indefinitely. So you can always come back and watch them. The materials, the pattern itself is uploaded usually at the beginning of every month. So you have plenty of time to upload it, look for supplies, etc. And then once the class goes live, it's recorded, and then you can go back and to review the video and watch them at any time. So and not only that, but you can contact me anytime if you have questions. So we have a great time. Plus, we have a remarkable group of men and women in the membership group. And if I can't answer a question, if I don't see it, somebody on there will. They're amazing. They're just a great bunch of people. We do have strict rules, however, for our Facebook membership group. There's no nastiness, no profanity, no cruelty. I have very strict rules about that. You have to be kind. Simple as that. And I am happy to say I've never had anybody violate those rules. So, and we have a blast. I had so much fun doing that one. Oh, Carrie, I'm so glad. Okay, so we are ready to move on. We're going to start shading our watermelon. I'm going to be using this fabulous. Oh, Posca has new pencils. Oh my stars, that's not a good thing. Iris, I try, believe me. I try to make sure that you get more than your money's worth. That's, in this day and age, it doesn't happen very often. So I like to make sure that my members are well taken care of. So we're going to shade our watermelon with a little bit of that crimson red. And I'm using a 1/2 inch angled shader. I love this red, and it is an excellent red for shading watermelon. Now I may have over blended that, I think. There we go. Didn't quite. I didn't quite get it right. Lucy, you don't have a defective filter. You don't have a filter. And we love that about you. If there's one person in the group that I can count on for speaking your mind, it's you. And I love that. We have a fabulous bunch of people. Absolutely fabulous bunch. They're kind to each other, supportive of each other, and that's the whole point. We don't expect our members to be perfect. I don't expect anybody to be perfect. I remember when I was a kid, my dad told me one time, if you've got anything to say about somebody else, you better make sure that you're perfect first. Posca pencils, I'm in so much trouble. I already use, Posca pens are made by Uniball, same company that makes my gel pens. So it was a natural thing for me to love them. So see how that's a subtle shadow, but it's a good one. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to dry that. We can come back and deepen that at any time. Our Miss Lucy. Hi, Rolene. Oh, is it bad on Cape Cod? I gotta find out where my cousin lives. I know I have a cousin that lives in Cape Cod. She inherited the family home out there, so I don't know if she still has that house or what, but yeah. For years we had a family home on the Cape. There we go. Oh, I love that. This red is very nicely transparent, but it's also quite a deep red. And it's a cool red. It leans toward the blue. So, it works very nice. Linda Salsini from sunny northern Michigan. And Rose Frank, hi. You're going to pretend you did not hear Posca pencils? I don't think I can pretend. We love our Lucy. Awesome bunch of ladies and gents. Okay, so look at that. We have watermelon. So I gotta grab a rigger. And we need some lamp black. Oh no, Posca pencils, I know. Okay, I'm going to have to find it something. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Posca pencils. Oh my stars. Add to cart. Yep. Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Okay. It was going to happen anyway. I don't know. Let's see. I have no problem looking. Okay. Let's see. What have we got here? Let's find out. Oh, let's see. Soft touch, artist grade colored pencils suitable for various art and craft styles, ideal for drawing. Fade resistant, so okay. Product specifications. Yeah, they should be. They should work well with Prismacolor. Oh, another conversion chart. Yes, I will have to do that. You know what? I love doing conversion charts simply because they're oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the conversion chart. I wanted to, since we're on the subject, one of my favorite things ever. This I have as a digital file as well. This is a colored pencil conversion and comparison chart by Karen Hull. Karen Hull is an absolutely brilliant color pencil artist. And I got this from her website in book form. However, you can download the digital one for free. But her printed one is absolutely spectacular. And it covers, I believe, 10 different brands of colored pencils, all higher end pencils. Absolutely fantastic. I have the digital one is in the members download. So if you don't have it, this thing is just, it's worth its weight in gold if you're into colored pencil. Okay, so I have my rigger and I have a little bit of lamp black. We're going to paint in some seeds. Now, they're not going to be where I put them in the line drawing because, well, I painted over them and I'm not tracing them back on. So I'm just going to paint in a series of seeds. They're just simple teardrop shapes. So I'm just going to paint them in with a little bit of lamp black. We don't need to have a ton of them. I kind of overdid it on the first one. I think I had 6 in there. And I would prefer an odd number. So I'm just going to do 5. There we go. They're not very pretty, but it's okay. So we have These are so fun. You know what? I had all of those too, the Betty Bird conversion books. And I sold off a couple of $100 a few years ago, and I need to add one or remove one. Exactly. So I chose to remove one. So I'm like a 5 in this one, but that's okay. So I'm going to dry it. And I'm going to come back to my crimson red. And on the left side, or right side, sorry, of each of these seeds, I'm going to put a float of that crimson red. Just like that. Simple float. Don't overthink it. You can come back over it if it's not deep enough, but we just want a little one there. Do I have a decor chart? Yes, I do. If you go to my website, in the educational material section, just look at the menu at the top of the page, click on more, and scroll down to the educational materials section. You'll find the 2026 color chart for Decor Americana is in there. Oh, Dorothy, don't get me started. Betty Bird is great. Unfortunately, they've been out of print for quite some time, so it's not always easy to find everything you need. So we're going to start shading our leaves, and I love this part. I'm going to use a float of plantation pine. Nice little U-shaped float right at the bottom of the leaf, where it would join the stem. Just a nice little U-shaped float like that. These leaves are super simple. We're just going to shade the base, highlight the tip. That's it. Nothing over the top. But I have way too much water in my brush, so these are kind of sloppy, but there we go. Leaves get painted real quick. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm with you there, Lucy. Oh, Dorothy, I have... How many different sets do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 12 different sets of colored pencils. Because I'm weak. Not to mention, I love finding, combining colors, and I like having a variety of things to choose from. So when it comes to working on colored pencils, my personal favorite are the Derwent Chroma Flow, but I find depending on the surface I'm working on, I'll go into my Prismacolor, and sometimes I'll go into my Lyra, because I really like the Lyra pencils. There's a whole bunch of different colored pencils out there, and they vary in price and they vary in quality. I gravitate towards pencils that have good light fastness, and so that means working with some higher priced pencils because they're working with higher quality pigment. But I've done fun pieces, like we did an orange in one of our lives last week, and I just used my Prismacolor pencils for it. But it's just as easy to do it. I have tons of books on colored pencils. So I'm a little obsessive when it comes to when I'm working with a particular medium, especially if it's something I really like. And I love colored pencils. So look at that. We've got leaves. So I'm going to highlight these leaves with a little float of Margarita at the point. So we put a U-shaped float on the end of the brush, kind of the reverse It's not really U-shaped, but it's still the same idea. Keeping that lighter value to the tip and the edges, like that. I've got too much water in my brush. There we go. There we are. It's a simple highlight. It doesn't need to be a dramatic one. We're not really looking for perfect leaves. We're just looking for something bright. There we go. And it gives the leaves sort of a finished appearance too, having that brighter green at the tip. And when you float them this way, the two floats, that back-to-back float, so that back-to-back float on there is going to give you that smooth transition between the light and the dark colors. Sorry, I sound like Gravel Gertie today. My voice keeps cracking. There we go. So we've got nice little leaves. Here we are. Iris, yes, I have. I've done a couple of things. I love the technique. Using colored pencils to add shading. Yeah, a troll. Adding shading and highlighting using the colored pencils on a base coat of acrylic. And in Erica Joanne's style is just so beautiful. And so I really loved the technique. You haven't heard that saying in a while? Gravel Gertie. I love the technique. I'm reluctant to do any projects with it because it's not my technique. So it's, and it is a very specific one. So, but I love the technique and it's so much fun to do. So yeah, I've done a couple of pieces with it. It's been a lot of fun. So we need to highlight our watermelon. And for that, I'm going to use Tea Berry. Hi, Roxy. Love that name, Roxy. So I'm going to blend a little bit of Tea Berry. Exactly. Thank you, Rose. So little Tea Berry at the top. I like this because it sort of takes on a bit of a chalky look. And it's not a harsh highlight, but it gives you a nice brightness to the top of our watermelon. Just like that. Now, in this particular case, a chisel blend would not be a bad idea. There we go. And I've got a little bit up here. So it's not a super harsh highlight. I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to get a little lighter. I also wanted to make that distinct edge so that you get that sort of triangle. I love this color. Tea Berry is, I think, is one of my favorite new colors that they've put out. That, the Avocado Toast, and Lush Green. Oh, and if you've gotten, oh yeah, Erica Joanne's stuff is fabulous. I love her work. If you've gotten any of the new colors, I've been having entirely too much fun with it. I'm absolutely obsessed with a couple of the new colors. One of them is Mountain Mist. I love that. It reminds me of Blue Mist, but it's a little more on the gray side. It's just a gorgeous color. And then there's one that is more lavender toned. And that one is beautiful. I love the grayed out colors in this, the new colors this year. I love that tone. So let's highlight our seeds. For that, we're going to do a very small little highlight on the left side. Very weak, heavily thinned warm white. Just a simple little float, like so. It does not have to be perfect. We're just changing the value. It is. It's a great color. Tea-berry. I love tea-berry. Now we're going to use either a liner or a rigger. You're going to use a small amount of warm white. Just a teeny tiny. We're going to put, oh, Muse, that's the one. Picked up a stray hair. Here we go. Oh. If that doesn't chap your fanny. Got a stray hair in my brush. Drives me nuts. Tea-berry. Oh, there, that grayed out tone is just so elegant. I was trying to figure out a word for it the other day, and the word is elegant. So I'm just going to put a little stroke of white, keeping it simple, close to the edge, like that. It doesn't have to be much. So awesome. So before we get carried away with all of the other stuff, we're going to grab a script liner, a long liner, your favorite liner, extra long detail liner. I'm going to take a little bit of Margarita and I'm going to give it a little bit of warm white just to make it a little bit more opaque. I don't necessarily want to make it light, but I do want to make it opaque. And I know you guys have seen me do this 1,000 times before, but we're going to do this squiggly outline on the leaves. Little straight line for the center vein. Nice little squiggly line on the edges of the leaves. It does not have to be perfect. It can go on the leaf, off the leaf, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that it comes to a point on the other end where they meet up. And it can have a little swirl in it. You can do whatever your heart desires as far as if you want a little curlicue at the end, go for it. I love those things. Just like so. And then we've got a little line like that. This to me just gives the leaves a little bit of softness and defines them clearly. They kind of get lost in all that dark red. A watermelon collection. That would be so pretty in the summer to have all these watermelon pieces. I don't know, watermelon just, I love watermelon. There was a time in the early 90s, apples were the thing. Everybody had apples everywhere. Watermelon's always been, watermelon and sunflowers, I think, have always been perhaps one of my favorite things. You love the phrase? Which phrase? Or this phrase, Happy 4th of July? So We have leaves. We have watermelon. I like the squiggly technique. It just makes the leaves a little softer and prettier. And we're going to take that same liner and our same green. I need to thin it out. Oh, chap your fanny. Yeah. Well, it sounds better than it ticks me off. So now we've got a nice little swirl because, you know, you need one. Gotta have a vine. Apples are wonderful. The daisy and the mushroom phase. Oh, yes. It's cute. Yeah, chap your fanny. Well, it's better than the alternative. Oh. Watermelon designs are just so fun. And they're indicative of summer, right? I love watermelon. I have a big container in the fridge. I need a little ant. An ant. Of course we need an ant. What's a picnic on the 4th of July without an ant? Awesome sauce. So let's focus on our little daisies down here. I'm going to use a rigger. And we're going to use some warm white, but I'm going to give myself a clean palette here. So we need a little bit of warm white. And we need some baby duck. And I had a little bit of fun with Posca pens in it. So. You guys are so cute. And we need a little bit of Bahama blue because, you know, it's me and I like my Bahama blue. And we're going to need some asphaltum. There we go. So I'm going to break out my Jus Sonia. I saw a lady that paints shells the other day, and oh my stars, they were so pretty. Hi, Nance. Been busy today, dear? So we have a little bit of warm white, and I'm using a number 5 round for this. And this part is super simple. Going to press and pull back. Simple stroke. And I like to start with the ones that are closest to me, and I worry about the ones in behind after the fact. Or sorry, that was kind of backwards. I do the ones in behind first, and then I do the ones in the front. Good gravy, Marie. So these are simple stroked petals. Don't overthink them. And you're going to pull them back towards the center. Just like that. Press down, pull back. Mm-hmm. Now, don't worry too much about that short petal because this next flower is going to cover it up, but we're going to do that. And then in the center, we're just going to stipple a round spot in the middle of the flower, just with a little bit of white. Oh, Denise, if you're starting to get a shiny spot, it just means that the flattening agents have sunk to the bottom. Give it a good shake. There's a a little texture medium or a medium inside it to make it matte. So all you got to do is just give it a shake. It'll be fine. And that shiny spot will go away. Oh, Jess, I'm with you. I get rid of the ants too because they're awful here. So that one is nice and dry. And then we're going to do that little one at the front. So I'm going to start where they overlap like that. And again, it's just a simple press and pull back towards the center. Oh, you're welcome, Denise. Mine gets a little ragged too, but if you've got lots of paint in your brush, it doesn't matter. I just think these are so fun, and they're such a simple flower. Oops, didn't pull it back far enough. There we go. And then we got one more petal. I keep sliding out of the... There we go. One more. Ta-da! And then I'm going to stipple the center. Just like that. So, I wanted to paint these this way simply because they reminded me of the big flower that fits on the bunting. He said, just put it in my box. I gotta go get another shot. Jessica, throw a little bit of borax. That'll take care of them. I use the vinegar and Dawn. But if you throw a little borax in it, they won't come back. They like the borax and it's poisonous. So, funky daisy. So, our next step for these is to shade around the centers and on the petals. And I'm going to use a small amount of Bahama Blue. And I'm going to separate, the petals that are in the back. I'm going to put a little float of Bahama Blue in there. And I'm going to shade the bottom of each petal independently. Little U-shaped float in there. All the way around. Comme ça. Bahama Blue is, anytime I'm painting white flowers, out comes the Bahama Blue. Simply because I just love the way this color works on a daisy. It's just the perfect little shading color for daisies. It cools the white, gives the white that cool tone for the summer. But at the same time, it's not such an over-the-top blue that it overtakes or overpowers everything. So, little float, Bahama Blue, right in there. See, even in the areas where I kind of whoopsied and didn't quite pull the stroke far enough, that Bahama Blue hides a multitude of sins. So, while we've got that Bahama Blue out, we have to separate those two daisies. So we're going to use a little Bahama Blue to shade around these petals, like so, just to lift and separate. It kind of sounds like a bra commercial, but it's to lift and separate the two flowers. So pushes the little one forward just a little bit. This is an 8x8, this one here. The breadboard, this one is a 7.5 by 10, or a 7 by 10, sorry. So it's 7 inches wide by 10 inches long, and this one is an 8x8. We do have those breadboards in stock. We got a bunch of them the other day. So if you like the breadboard, but I'm kind of liking this. I think that this. Sorry, Sherry. Sometimes forget that my mouth runneth over at times. So I've got a little bit of thinned asphaltum, heavily thinned, not quite thinned enough. That's a little too dark. And I'm going to go in and deepen that shading in and around. And the minute you put that asphaltum on, it kind of takes on just a slight greenish cast. Just slight. It's not over the top. And don't forget those little petals that are in back there. We need to do that as well. And this one. Hi, Kathy. Good to have you with us. I know it's late on the coast. Earlier still on the coast. Oh, you had a blood draw? Well, that makes two of us, Sherry. It's a defense mechanism because of our family. We're crazy. So I'm going to take that same thin asphaltum and I'm going to shade around where those two flowers overlap, just to deepen that float. Look at that. Diatomaceous earth. So next, where did I put that brush? There it is. Next, we're going to use a little bit of that baby duck. I think this is my favorite yellow. We're going to paint the center of our daisies with a little bit of that baby duck. And it's going to come up and just slightly overlap that shadow, just a touch. There we go. Ta-da! So we'll dry that, and then we're going to take our tea berry, that same color that we used to highlight our... I mix it right into the spray. I mix the borax right in with the spray, and I've used it on everything. I use it for ants. I use it for earwigs. We live near the woods, so we get a lot of earwigs. And I hate earwigs. I'd rather have spiders in the house than earwigs. I hate them. And we get a lot of them. So I go around the house a couple of times during the summer and I spray all like the edge of the foundation and around the doorways and things like that with that mixture. White vinegar. Like I'll fill like a gallon pump. I use white vinegar, borax, Dawn dish detergent, and water. And I make those things go away. So at least they don't come in the house because I hate them. So we're going to shade on the right side. And I love how this color works on white or on that baby duck. It's just wow, great color. So nice little choppy float on the right side from center to center. So top to bottom. I use a great big one. Oh, yeah. And then I spray it everywhere. Yep. But it works exceptionally well for ants, too. There we go. I don't know how it would work on ticks. What proportions do I use? I put, in the gallon, I put 2 cups of borax, 2 cups of vinegar, and I put 2 cups of, I put about a cup of Dawn into it. Shake it up really well. And, for good measure, if you're not spraying it in the garden, you can throw in a little bit of kosher salt too. That'll take care of a whole bunch of things. I used it on Japanese beetles, the lily beetles, because they were destroying my lilies. So I'm going to dry that. I'm going to deepen this a little bit. I got one that's nice and deep and one that's not so much. There we go. Look at that. Now, if you've got a little bit of saffron yellow kicking around, those big black ants, big carpenter ants, borax, and borax and sugar. That'll take care of them. I have a gallon, it's a gallon bucket, so I throw those things in and I fill up the gallon with the rest with water. So we need a little bit of saffron yellow. Yes, absolutely, Debbie, that's a good idea. Oh, they usually die pretty quickly. So I'm going to take a little bit of saffron yellow. And the only reason I use the saffron is this. It's that punch. You put that little bit of saffron over everything. It's that punch, that big old in-your-face punch of yellow. I absolutely love it. It just turns that. I don't know if it'll work. No reason why it wouldn't. Oh, we've used that too. Yep, we've used that. So here we are. So we're going to finish off these daisies pretty quickly. I'm going to grab my 0.38 black gel pen, and I'm going to grab my Posca pens because I learned something the other day. Oh yeah, beer works too. So I've got a black Posca pen and I have a white Posca pen. So you guys know me and my penchant for little dip dots. I'm going to use the white Posca pen. Come on. Oops. And I'm going to add my dip dots. I love my dip dots. So on the light side, I've got little dip dots of warm white, and I come past the edge of onto the petals. But it's so much easier, and they're consistent when you're using this Posca pen. So just little dip dots. Again, I like going past the page. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the black one. Oh. Judy, I know that pain only too well. I moved, we had a rack for the clematis, and we were having a problem with the clematis, so we had to move the rack that it was climbing on. And when we cut it back and we laid it on the ground, as soon as it hit the ground, there's hundreds of earwigs came out of it. They're disgusting. I hate earwigs. So there is our, look at that. How fun is that? It's so easy to do that with a Posca pen. Put in all those cool, I love these things. And then I'm going to take my little gel pen And I like putting little texture around the center of the flower. Usually just 3 lines. I like the simplified thing, just 3 little lines of different lengths. Long one in the middle, 2 short ones on the outside. Instead of getting this really complex design on it, we just have lettering to do yet. That's it. And then go around the outside edge with a squiggly line around your center and back. You're going to do it this way. I like the texture it creates. Such a fun way to do a daisy, and it's so easy. They have the door to the studio blocked. They had to block the cat door because Taz comes down and she just creates havoc down here. The other day I was filming something, she walked right underneath the camera. So, once we have that center part done, we're going to do a squiggly line around each of the petals. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. Don't worry about whether it stays on the flower. It doesn't matter. It can go off the edge. It can stay inside. It doesn't matter. And I like them when they're squiggly. I'm funny that way. I prefer irregularities to perfection. I was making stickers the other day. We were going to be tucking some fun stickers into the giveaways and into orders and things. And I was playing with a design that I had in mind. So now it's Progress, Not Perfection is one of the stickers that I made. And I just love it. So we're having entirely too much fun with this new process. And I discovered I can cut them on my Cricut, so, which is even better. Now I just have to figure out how to do it because I'm not that savvy with the Cricut. I can do a bunch of things, but some of the other stuff I'm not. So there we go. Look how cute. Look how cute. I love that. So we've got cute little daisies. I mean, this is such a fun little piece. And a happy flower. Yes, they're very happy. Little cat hair would make it textured, right? Yeah, well, I've been picking cat hair out of everything these days. I didn't realize. We're so accustomed to having 2 cats in the house. I figured, what kind of a difference would one more make? Oh my God. I am absolutely gobsmacked at how much cat food we go through. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to make sure that all this ink is dry. Ta-da! How fun is this? Absolutely, Sue. Couldn't agree more. So I'm going to get my rigger. Oh yeah, I have a subscription. I have access to a sticker button. Oh, okay. I haven't even tried it yet. So, but yeah, I was making stickers last week because I'm just, every time I learn something new, I got to run with it. So, I had way too much fun. So, our next color, I wanted a really nice deep blue, but if you wanted to change the blue, it is kind of cute, isn't it? If you wanted to change the blue to something brighter, you could certainly do that by any means. I mean, you're not obligated to use all of the colors that I use. So if you're more comfortable using a different color palette, by all means, go for it. So I'm using a little bit of deep midnight blue, which is perhaps my favorite blue, and Prussian blue. We're going to use that for a shading color. And I'm using a little bit of Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze and a 0 rigger. You can use a number 2 or a 0. Either one is going to be fine for this. And we're going to start with the H. I haven't actually done a painted lettering piece in a while, it seems. May you be, yes, you, you may be excused, madam. So a little bit of that deep midnight blue. I love this blue. There's something about this dark blue. It's not quite a navy. It's a little grayed out. Tina, you bought yourself a whole heap of trouble. I wanted another cat. I really missed my little sooters. So I wanted another cat. And you know what they say. You know, the right one comes along type thing. And I had finally decided I was going to adopt another cat. And one day I opened up Facebook Marketplace. And there was this little tiny black kitten looking for a home. And I immediately went and showed him to my husband. And then literally that afternoon, we went and picked her up. So now we have Taz. And we have a senior citizen. Like our Gizmo is a senior, like a very senior. He had a birthday last week and he is 14 years old, which makes him about 71 in human years. 72. So he's getting on. And the funny part is that when we got Gizmo, Soot was, you know, the boss in the house. And she did not like Gizmo. And now we have Taz in the house, and Gizmo does not like Taz. But he spent all of that time, all of those years, trying to get Soot to play with him, and she wouldn't have it. But yet they managed to coexist just fine, but he wanted to play, and she's like, I don't think so. And now we have Gizmo, who's old and crotchety. And then we have Taz, who is a holy terror. There's no other word for it. And she knows her name. She knows her name very well. Aries in the middle. Yes, Aries is our sweetie. Aries is just the dearest little thing. Well, not so little, but you know what I mean. She's an absolute sweetheart. And Gizmo and her get along just fine. But Taz is a little bit in your face. And Taz is very busy, and Taz is very curious. Hi, Life of Kel. I'm going to go with a Kelly, correct? She's adorable, but she's a handful. I had tomato plants started, and she ate them all. soon as they popped up, she just ate the tops off of them and then tried to steal the pots. And she's just too much for TV, that one. Now, once you have your lettering painted, this has got one coat on there. Probably could use another coat. However, I'm going to take a little bit of, yes, Gizmo does demand that we respect the elders. Doesn't request it, he demands it. Ari and Taz are quite something. They're funny. So I've got a little bit of Prussian blue. And I love Prussian blue. And I'm going to, good Lord. I got way too much water in my brush. There we go. So I've got a little bit of Prussian blue. I'm going to, remember the chisel blend thing? I'm going to just tap and pull at the bottom. A little bit of Prussian blue. Little float on the bottom. But on those vertical parts, it's just easier to tap the color in than it is to try and float it in. You can float, but it's easier just to tap and pull it up. So I use that Prussian blue at the bottom of each letter. And I come up about 1/3 of the way. So if your color is looking a little streaky or thin, that pretty much takes care of that. So you don't have to worry about whether or not the color, the floats or the base color is perfect, because that float of Prussian is going to pretty much take care of that. And I kind of like it a little streaky at the top because it kind of gives it a distressed look. So I'm going to put a little at the base of this as well. That little float does wondrous things. Now this lettering is still going to look a little sketchy for a little bit, until I get that color in. Oh, I like that. So that's when I come to my Posca pens again. This little set of 8 is just awesome. So there is a light blue in this set, and I used that to highlight my lettering. And I put my highlight on the left side, like so. And that highlight just does lovely things for this lettering. And it's a super easy highlight to deal with because you just have to follow the line of the lettering, like so. So if you find your lettering is looking a little wanting, you can fix up a multitude of sins with a Posca pen. And look how that lettering stands out now that you put that little highlight on there. I'm going to do the same thing on this lettering over here. It's just another tool. It's not cheating. It's just another tool for putting on paint. No different than using a liner brush. And quite honestly, takes a little pressure off. It does take a little pressure off of you. So, and I want to show you something else. This is fun. So there is a dark blue in this. I'll give this a shake. Oh, I haven't even used this one yet. There's a dark blue in here. I used my other dark blue in my I have another set of Posca pens that have the same size point, but they're a felt tip look. So this one is a brighter blue. So if you find that you've got a spot, like I have one here, it's a brighter blue, but it's still very dark. It's almost a Prussian, where I didn't connect the lettering, so you could touch up little spots. So if you're looking for it, here it is. This is what it looks like. There's 8 colors in this set, and these are called the Pinpoint. They have a pinpoint, and it's a 0.7 millimeter. I love this pin type. They work just like the other markers. The only difference is that they have that very fine, almost like a Sharpie point on them, and they're great for doing little details like this. They're great for outlining things. They're great for doing fine lettering. They're fantastic. I got this set from Dick Blick. That was one of the best places that I found for them. But I'm pretty sure you can get this pin type off of Amazon as well. But Dick Blick, I found, had the best deal on these. So all we have some stars to do, and then we have that fourth. The fourth. May the fourth be with you. Oh, I love these. So I'm going to use a little bit of warm white, and we're going to paint our number 4. I'm going to put 1 coat of warm white on here for the same reason that I did the light buttermilk to the watermelon. I want to give that bright yellow a good base, and it's not going to be interfered with as far as that red isn't going to cause any issues. That red underneath could mess with our yellow quite significantly. So I'm going to put a coat of warm white in. I'm a firm believer, if it works for you, if it helps you finish a piece successfully, then there's nothing wrong with it. It's like the difference between using a stencil, pardon me, a stencil to put, decorative details in is no different. So Posca pens are a great tool for putting down acrylic paint. I love the accuracy of them. I also love that they come in so many different colors and so many different point sizes, tip sizes. That makes them highly versatile. Not to mention they use a very high quality acrylic in them. So, you're not losing anything by using a Posca pen. So, there's our 4th. So I'll rinse my brush. And there is a method to my madness. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the yellows are diagonal to each other. Just like that. The base coat was Deep Midnight Blue. One of my favorite blues. I just love the color. I use it for backgrounds quite often. It's quite often. So, for the lettering, I'm going to use my rigger again, but we're going to use a little bit of Baby Duck. Such a great yellow. Baby Duck is such a great yellow. And it's nicely opaque, so we'll probably get this in 1 coat. Just going to take our time putting this color in. So this is why we put down that little layer of white. If I had left it, we would have seen that red right through that yellow. That red stripe. And we really needed it to be fully opaque to cover up that red. So a coat of white underneath it does two things. One, it puts in a little barrier against that red. And two, it gives us a nice bright yellow because we've got that white underneath it. Carol, I think I've got at least several. There's certain colors that I really tend to get in large quantities. Asphaltum, warm white, Bahama blue, baby duck, lush green, and avocado toast, and plantation pine. I tend to use those colors a lot, so I buy them in large quantities. And in most cases, it's 6 to 10 at a time, so because I use it every day. There we go. This one, actually, it works up very quickly. It is a lot of fun to paint. Now, for the Canadian one, I did a series of little maple leaves, and there is the second line drawing in this pattern. So if you would prefer to do the Canadian one with the maple leaves, the instructions are in there for them. You can paint them with country red. You're going to highlight with a little bit of tea berry, and then a little shade with that crimson red. And then if you have a stencil with a little maple leaf, you can choose wherever you want to put the maple leaves. So we just have a little bit of shading to do on our fourth. Then we're going to do some stars. And then Renee is going to set up the wheel. So I have a little bit of tea berry. If you do tea berry, or if you can't find any locally, a little bit of orange flame will do the trick quite nicely. So I'm going to put a float of tea berry across the bottom, and then I'm going to walk that float up to about there. We want a fairly nice orange bottom. We're going to do the same thing to the T and the H. And again, you're going to bring that float up about a third of the way. I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to repeat it so that I have a nice, even float. Happy July is painted with deep midnight blue. There is a full supply list in the pattern. Speaking of patterns, there is a sale on the e-packets right now. Plus there is a coupon code at the top of the web page, on the front page, that you can use as well. And that sale is only good until Sunday. So I'm going to take a little bit of that saffron yellow. I'm going to dry this really well. And this is where we get all of our heat, right here. So just like I did with the centers of the flower, I'm going to bring a float of that saffron yellow over top of that tea berry and up. Comes up. And we've got a nice bright 4th. So that saffron really brings any orange, any yellow, just really makes it pop. So I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to show you a real quick way to highlight, just like we did with the Happy. We're going to use the white Posca pen, and we're going to do that same thing. Highlight the left side. Just like so. So we've got the highlight on the left. And then just to make that pop a little bit, we're going to use our black gel pen to put a very fine line right against the yellow. Nice and fine. Try to keep it as straight as you can. That little tiny line of black, it's not really all that obvious, but it helps pop that lettering right off of that stripe. Works very well. There we go. So we'll make sure that that is good and dry. And then I'm going to show you a really neat trick for doing stars. I have watched people struggle to shade stars for the longest time. So I've got, this one is called Star Spangled, by the way, if you're looking for it. That stencil is called Star Spangled. It's a great little stencil. And it's a perfect star for this type of thing. Now, I have them sort of scattered everywhere. So I'm going to position one right here and take a stencil brush. And I'm going to stencil with white first. Ta-da! There's one white. We'll put one over here. And I like one right there underneath the July. And one down here. And I need one under Happy. And I have to make sure it's an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I think I need another one. Let's put one down here. And I'm going to have one up here that kind of goes off the surface a little bit. There we go. So we have white stars. Kind of cute. Kind of cute. So I'm going to dry those. And then I'm going to quickly just work out the white out of my stencil brush, just on a piece of shop towel. There we go. And then I'm going to reposition my stencil so that it lines up, and I'm going to pick up Baby Duck. And I'm going to blend that on my brush, just like so. So, paint my stars yellow. Make sure that they're all yellow. Stencils are very handy for this kind of thing. So there's our yellow. Ta-da! Just take a little bit of time to make sure it's lined up. Otherwise, you're going to have a... There we go. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bright white highlight on one side of your star. It might not be the right side, if you know what I mean. There we go. And one more right there. Et voila. So we have nice bright yellow stars. So I'm going to switch to a smaller stencil brush. Maybe, if I find one. Oh, there's one. This is the problem when you have so many stencil brushes and you're looking for one in particular, you can't find it. Ah, there it is. Okay, found it. So I have a smaller stencil brush. The only reason I went smaller is because it gives you a little more control. And I'm picking up a little bit of that tea berry. And I'm going to blend it really well. I don't want a ton of color left in the brush. So circular fashion, brush should be almost dry. And then you're going to position your stencil over your star. And our shading is always on the right side. So I'm going to stencil just the right side of my star. Ta-da! So we get this nice little glowy look. And you can do that to all of them. And you do not need to have a ton of paint. And it is a very fast way to do your stars. And it makes them nicely accurate. Oops, got a little heavy-handed with the color there, but position that. I love using a stencil for this because I find that the float or that little shadow tends to be quite soft. You can float it in if you want to. It's not going to hurt anything if you do, but this is just a simpler way to get a little bit of that color in. Easy peasy. And like I said, you can make it as dark as you want or as light as you want. Now there's nothing to stop you from taking a little bit of the saffron yellow and putting a little of that in too, if you want to. But I kind of like the stars a little more subtle. They are not the feature. They're part of the design. And if you're doing the Canadian one, you can use the small maple leaf stencil and a little bit of country red, and then highlight with a little bit of tea berry or a bright orange. You can do whatever your heart desires. Now, I gravitate more towards putting things randomly around it, but that is not to say that it wouldn't look adorable inside the white stripes or on the red ones only. I mean, you can do so much with a stencil as far as that goes. So how fun is that? So we have a couple more little things to do that, to my mind, need to be done. So I'm going to take my fugly brush. Ta-da! It's getting fugglier by the day. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of thin asphaltum because I like my asphaltum. I'm going to pick up a little bit of glaze here. There we go. And I'm going to generously spatter my surface with asphaltum. Now, you can avoid the watermelon if you choose. But I kind of like that, you know, the old, it's been hanging around in the garage or in the barn for ever and a day kind of look. So that's what I'm doing, a little heavier with the asphaltum. And I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of lamp black. Fly specking. That's what we used to call it, fly specking. But I could see why, you know, somebody wouldn't necessarily want to have fly poop on their artwork, but, you know, little bit, lamp black. Just, to me, that just gives everything that old distressed look. Love it. And then, if you can get the brush clean enough, try doing it with a little bit of thinned warm white as well. I've always liked using multiple colors for this. The brown and the black kind of give it that old vintagey look. A little bit of that white keeps it from getting too dark looking. And so that, I really love that look. So now that it's spattered, I'm going to dry this really well. And do the one last thing. And then Renee will be here to do our wheel for us. How fun is that? I love the bright colors in this. I just think it's very summery looking. Here we go. Now, final step for me, and this is entirely up to you. This is the last step. I'm using a Stays-On stamp pad in Timber Brown. I love this technique. So I'm going to rub the edges like so. I use a circular fashion, especially in the corners. I like to age those corners a little. And then I tip it forward a little bit. So when you're here, you're only going to get a thin line. As you tip in, you get more of the stamp pad on the surface. You can rub and get more distressed areas like so. And I love going into the corners. I like those deep corners. I love these little broken appearances along here like that. A little more. Just gives it a little extra age that I just love this look. So there we are. So all you have to do is dry that. Give it two, I would say 2 light coats of DecoArt matte spray to seal it. And there you go. Happy 4th of July. Part of our summer celebrations. So if you're joining us for the first time today, we do giveaways every Saturday afternoon at the end of my live. We always have some fun goodies to send you. So in order to get your name on the wheel, all you have to do is join us in the chat, say hello, good morning, good afternoon, ask a question, or just let us know where you're watching from. At the end of the live, Renee takes all of those names, pops them onto the wheel. We give it a spin, and 2 of you, will win one of those giveaways. So today's giveaways are fantastic. We have a surprise pack of stencils. Again, it's a surprise to me too, because I don't know what's in them. And then we have a fabulous set of drawing pencils for each of the winners, as well as one of our little create bags that we have filled up with some goodies from both Renee and myself. So we have some fun stuff for you today, plus a 5-brush set of Dynasty Black Gold brushes. What?
Linda Safranco's calling you out.
Oh, why?
You didn't sign your piece.
Well, steal my gizzard and call me gutless.
Just sign your piece.
I have to sign it. There you go. I have my scribblature in place. Fun little piece.
Spinning. Actually, no. I'm going to shuffle it.
He's going to shuffle the wheel. And he's spinning.
Spinning.
And don't forget, if your name is called during one of our lives for one of the giveaways, hop over to the website, click on the contact button, and send us your shipping information so that we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. And our first winner is Robin Storm. Awesome. Robin hasn't won anything in a while. So it's time.
It's time. She gets a... That one.
One of our fun little giveaways.
Yay! Oh. Yay, Robin. That's right. And shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And spin again for number 2.
Who dat? Aldo Valdavarius.
Wow, that's a name.
That is a name. Don't forget, head over to the website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower, sorry, not the speech bubble. Go to the contact. Speech bubble doesn't work. Go to the contact us button and send us your shipping information, please, so we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. If we don't hear from you, we only hang on to things for 2 weeks, and then they go back in the bin.
Robin Storm and Aldo.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us again today. We love having you with us, and I love painting with you guys. You're always a lot of fun, and you always have great questions. So please let me know if you have a special idea or something you'd like to consider for a future class. I would love to know what your thoughts are. So make use of that contact us button. We would love to hear your thoughts. And we do have that big e-pattern sale on the website. You can have a look through there if you like. And there's a coupon code as well for everyone. So put it to use. We would love to help you. So in the meantime, we will see you all again next Saturday. We have a great little mixed media piece for you next week. So we will see you then. Mwah. Love you. Stay safe.
And pet your dog.
He does that on purpose.
Yeah.